Okay, guys, this is Moshe coming to you from Israel in the Galilee, and it's about 7:15 in the morning here. Um, there was some fighting last night. Nothing super spectacular happened. After the United States has been threatening repeatedly these terrorist groups attacking their military bases in Iraq and Syria. There was another attack yesterday in the evening, so they're not listening to the threats. The experience I've had from living in the Middle East many years in Israel is that these terrorists, they don't operate like a European or an American or a South American. They're different. They have a different culture, a different outlook, a different way of doing things. And when they see big governments threaten, it doesn't register the way it does with us or someone in Europe or Brazil or something like that. They would think, oh gosh, we better knock it off or they're going to come hit us and get us. They think that the big country's scared to do it. Of course, they've got terrorist networks around the world and, well, whatever they think. And the only thing that really tends to stop them is brute force. And look at us and Hamas. We've got much greater force than them. They still haven't stopped. You're dealing with martyrs. We had this in World War II with the Japanese. It was more honorable to die than it was to surrender. And that's why one of the reasons they treated American POWs and Australian and British and so forth POWs poorly was because they thought it was dishonorable to be a POW. Go figure. I mean, people are different in all different cultures. So the latest that we picked up this morning was there's an Iraqi terrorist group, and they're in Iraq and Syria now. I don't, there's so many of these groups, Al-Babu, Babing, Baba, and I don't know, and they tell you this one's affiliated with this one, with that one. They're all basically the same, and I think all roads lead back to Iran, the head of the snake, but that's what I think. And many, many other people do too, the media, military, lots of people, diplomats, I don't stand alone here, They threatened to attack American troops, not just in Iraq and Syria, which they've been doing. Okay, they attacked either 9 or 10 American bases so far, about 15 times in like a week. And now they're threatening to attack American troops in the UAE and in Kuwait. Kuwait's been walking very softly. Kuwait doesn't want any part of Iran because they like their peaceful life. They're not our friends, I can assure you. The UAE kind of follows Saudi Arabia around a lot, and they did an Abrahamic Accord with Israel, and a lot of Israelis went over there as tourists. UAE has the real duty-free shopping. That's the only place in the world, I think, maybe Saudi too, where it's really duty-free, where you go down to the Caribbean islands and they say duty-free. It's not. It's a joke, okay? It's a little less than America, but it's not duty-free. I've, over the years, read different statistics, but they tend to vary this way. American troops in Kuwait and the UAE tend to go between 2,500 and 5,000. Now, these terrorist groups from Iraq are not going to go over there and assemble an army of 4,000 or 5,000 and attack them or something like that. They'll lose. Missile strikes, air strikes, mortars, machine guns, tanks. They'll lose. They're going to do terrorist attacks. Drones, missiles, rockets, possibly mortars, artillery. Heavy on drones and missile and rockets. That's probably their method. And they may attack I mean, if there's soldiers in these cities running around as tourists and stuff like that, they may try to pick them off in the streets. So this is bad. It's expanding. It has to happen prophetically. It's expanding the war. Biden was just talking with the head of Saudi Arabia, and they're going to continue to pursue diplomatic solutions. But Biden might be saying he's going to, go to, Hezbollah and Hamas and Iran and, sit there and sing "Give Peace a Chance," but his actions are not exactly "Give Peace a Chance." His actions are more like the song "War" or something, They're bringing in squads of fighter jets into the theater here. The Dwight D. Eisenhower aircraft carrier, I would say, if it's going to engage Hezbollah or Yemen, I think it's going down to Yemen. They're very worried about Yemen because there's a little pincher point at the bottom of the Red Sea where it flows into the Sea of Oman under Yemen and under Oman and stuff down there. And Saudi Arabia's in there. And they're very worried about that. And they're going to probably put some powerful ships down there to control Yemen, or they could shut the Red Sea. And the biggest fear is Yemen. In the last year and a half, they attacked with rockets, most likely from Iran, the Saudi oil refinery called Aramco, which is the biggest in Saudi Arabia. And they hit it with like one or two missiles, and it took the Saudis a handful of days to get the thing opening again. And they were afraid, let's say they do a strike on the Aramco refinery, and they, fire 15 or 20 missiles and 4 or 5 hit, it may take Saudi Arabia 3 months or 6 months to rebuild it. And that's going to send oil prices through the roof, which is a fear of America and Europe. Okay? And that's a dream of Russia and Iran to do that. They both have oil. What do they care? Oil prices don't go up when you have your own oil. They go up for other people. So when you live here for a number of years like I have, you learn something. When these terrorist groups make a threat like that, I would say you're probably up around a 95% chance they're going to go through with it. They probably know how they're going to go through with it before they do it. And that's how the terror works. They announce they're going to do it, and then they do it. So if they just surprise attack, then the people get upset, and then it's over. It happened, it's over. But when they announce it beforehand, then the pressure builds up on people. It's a terrorist kind of propaganda methodology, you might say, right? All right. So Biden's going to have to get off the podium with the Give Peace a Chance, and I think he's gearing up. And I think you're going to see probably more squads of planes come in here. Now, to Dwight D. Eisenhower, they might actually take a chance and put it in the Persian Gulf. They made provision by bringing in these A-10 Warthog planes. The A-10 Warthog is a not-so-fast, propeller-driven, it's a turboprop plane. It doesn't break the sound barrier. It has this amazing machine gun in the front of it that shoots almost 4,000 rounds a minute of 20-millimeter rounds, which is Beulah's howling in the house, which is a 1-pound projectile. It's devastating machine gun. It really is. And they have these in the UAE, I think. toward Jordan. It's some place where they could get to the Persian Gulf pretty quick. And they probably intend to fly these around for cover for their aircraft carrier with escort vessels in the Persian Gulf, so Iran doesn't try to do a swarm attack with the go-fast boats on the aircraft carrier, which they have over 1,500 of. They're like 60, 70, 80-foot boats that can shoot torpedoes, fire some missiles. They got machine guns, RPGs. If you send enough of them at an aircraft carrier at the same time, they're going to create serious damage and disable it if they don't blow it up or sink it. They probably, well, depending how many of them come, if they firing torpedoes, shooting missiles and rockets, even RPGs. I mean, you sit there and hit an aircraft carrier with 15 or 20 RPGs, you're going to blow up the conning tower, hit planes on the deck, cause fires, and the ship's going to be out of action for a while, maybe a long time. I don't know. Depends on the hit. Now, they would combine that with a large amount of drones. So if you send 50 go-fast boats, or even 100 at the aircraft carrier flotilla, with 50 or 100 drones at the same time, plus whatever land-based missiles you could launch, you could swarm attack and overwhelm some of the defenses of the aircraft carrier. The aircraft carrier has these phalanx guns that are rather similar to the gun in the A-10 Warthog. They usually have them on 3 sides or 4 sides of the aircraft carrier, but they're particularly designed to shoot things in the air, like a drone or a plane or a missile. These things are not set up to aim down into the water. The width of the aircraft carrier is quite wide, so the go-fast boats could get pretty close, and these phalanx guns are not set up to shoot down in the water. So this is a problem. And if you got 50 or 80 of them coming at the same time, your missile launching, you're going to kind of run out of missiles, right? And you got to get them when they're far away. You can't shoot them. The angles are wrong. You can't get them when they're right up close to the boat. So the A-10 Warthog is the perfect solution. Those things just spray bullets like crazy. They just splinter the boats, That's what my theory is why the A-10 Warthogs are here. So, look, Iran's the head of the snake. The Pentagon knows it. I think they're waking up that they got to do it sooner or later. They're going to have to attack Iran to stop this. It's an overwhelming problem. Gaza has 300 miles of tunnels. Iran might have 3,000 miles of tunnels, or I'd say at least 1,000 miles. So a land invasion, I'd say, is off the table, I think. A good bombing to mess up as much as their military infrastructure that they could access with bombs and missiles would be an interesting thing. They could hit military bases. They could hit air bases of the military, helicopter bases. They could hit the oil refineries. They could hit the places on the water where they load the oil into the boats. They could hit the oil wells. You can't put oil refineries and oil wells underground. And blowing up their oil refineries and their oil wells would be the ultimate sanction. Telling them they can't sell oil and people can't buy it doesn't seem to work very well. So they don't know what Russia and China will do if they do that, because they have mutual defense treaties with Iran. But Iran's goal is to drive America out of the Middle East and get them to stop interfering with their domination of the Middle East. And I would say the chances of America doing that are 1 out of 100. It's always a chance, but they're nowhere near ready to do that. So that's why all these military assets are coming in. Great Britain sent Navy warships, and you'll see other countries send 1 or 2 Navy warships. And I don't know if we'll see a 3rd aircraft carrier, because they're bringing airplanes in and landing them on the ground. Now, yesterday we saw 3 um, tanker refueling tanker planes come, and they can refuel the jets many times in air. So the problem is the jets run out of bombs and rockets and bullets, and that you can't refuel in the air. They haven't gotten that far yet. They'd probably like to, but that's a pretty monumental task. So they got to go back to a base and rearm, and then they usually refuel at the base also. So, but while they're in combat, they might have to cover some distance to get there. So they could run out of fuel. So they put these tankers up nearby so they can fuel up. So basically, look, if you want to follow the war blow by blow, come to my Telegram. I do social media from Arabic, translate to English, from Hebrew, translate to English. And I get the social media in Israel, and I get it fast. What I get, it'd take 12 hours for you to get in the media. If you really, and I put videos up, pictures, and government press releases, and military releases, and what's going on with the government, and what we see, how life is here, what's going on. The way you do that is download Telegram Messenger, the app. It's free. Then send me an email. My email address is israelgiving7@gmail.com. israelgiving7@gmail.com. And it's in the bottom of the description box in the video. And just put in the subject header, Telegram. That's all you got to do. And I'll send you the invite link, okay? Someone asked about the appearing of the Son of Man. Yes, it's in Zechariah 12. It's in verse 6 or verse 10. But just Zechariah 12 is not a big chapter. I think it's 10, Zechariah 12:10. And the 2 witnesses appear there also, burning up the enemies on the right and the left. And that's where we're headed. And that's Jacob's trouble. And that's also should be read with Jeremiah 30, with special attention to verse 11. Okay? So I'll be on the air on YouTube later. Let me look and see if there's other questions that I need to address. Hold on. I think that the appearing of the Son of Man could happen any day. Well, we got to see Zechariah 12. That's, in my mind, 100% going to happen this year, and we're almost in the 4th month of the year of recompenses, year of redemption. So I don't think it, and there's a lot of stuff that has to happen, like the second Exodus and all that. So I don't think it's going to take that much longer. It could be a month or 2 or something in my mind. I don't have an exact date, but that's where I'm at with that. Okay? So things are definitely moving in that direction. All right. The UN chided us, or maybe I should say badmouthed us, extensively yesterday, one of the mucky mucks in the UN. So, they're really turning against us. There's no doubt about it, okay? All right. So I'll come on later with a broadcast, more Bible-oriented, and send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach. But the point of this video is understand it's expanding. And America's got to get in. Or leave the Middle East, which I don't think they'll do. I'm out. Thanks.